Hello there, and welcome to our next video of Statometrics. Here we're going to show you how to create your own strategy, build your own strategy, set it up, etc, etc. Okay, so when you start you should go to Strategy Management, and as you'll see, when you first start you'll have no strategies listed because obviously you haven't created anything yet. So what you do, you go to Create New Strategy, click on there, and give it a chance for the software to load up. And as you can see, you come to stage 1. And all you do at stage 1 is you're picking the competitions that you want to potentially bet on. So down the left hand side, we have a list of all the countries. And if you click on the small tab for each country, you can see then you have a list of competitions and you can select any single one. In total, we have about 190 countries and about 1,300 competitions. So for this example, we are going to select England with our focus being on the Premier League. So we click there to open England up, and then we click Premier League. And as you can see, we have a lot of competitions from the Premier League all the way down to the Kent Senior Cup, Liverpool Senior Cup. The list goes on. We obviously have League 1, League 2, the Championship, and any competition in between. The FA Cup's also there as well. It's worth pointing out that obviously the lower down you go, there are gaps in data. So if I was to select the Northumberland Senior Cup, there may be some games missing because of the data we collect. But anyway, for this example, we're going to use the Premier League. So once we've selected Premier League, as you can see there, we simply go to Save and Continue, and the software moves on to the second stage. As you can see, it says there, you're at stage 2. Okay, now all we need to do here, this is one of the most important parts of the software building thing, is here we can define or list the statistics that we want to collect or we want to view. So if I was starting stages, you can look at the home team when they're playing at home, the home team when they're playing away, or their home team, their games from home and away. So let's assume Liverpool are playing Man United, and you want to look at and you want to focus on Liverpool's record, and you want to look at their last 6 games. You could say, right, you want to look at Liverpool's last 6 league home games, in which case you'd select home team, and home team there. You may say, we know Liverpool are playing at home, but you want to look at their last 6 away games, in which case you click on home again, but select the home team and their away record. Or you may decide you want to look at the home team, which in this case can be Liverpool, but you want to look at their record over the last 6 games, both their home and away record, in which case you'd pick the home team and their combined record. For us personally, and for this example, we're going to select the home team at home, which means that whichever fixtures come up, we will be viewing their previous games at home. Just to go further on this, if you want to look at the away team, you'd click away team away. So that's the away team when they're playing at their home record, the away team and their away record, or the away team and their record combined, so their last home and away fixtures, whatever amount of games you select. You can also go to combined, and what this does is combines the teams. So this is combined teams, and that is their record at home. So that would be, again, just assume Liverpool were playing Man United, and what you would do, you'd take Man United's and Liverpool's last home games in combination. But at this stage, I wouldn't worry about that too much. I always think it's better to focus on some basic information first of all, and as you gain experience, you can easily progress further forward. Okay, so for this example, we're going to select a few bits of data. So as you can see, I have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 categories I can look at. I can look at basic information. I can look at half-time, full-time information. As you can see, the record will change, the stats available changes. I can look at half-time scores, full-time scores, first half information and second half information. And this list is always growing, and we can actually add any query we want. So if anyone has any query ideas they would like adding, drop me an email and we'll get it put in. For this example, we're going to start off with basics, and this is just to give you an idea, and once you watch this video, hopefully you'll understand it more. I would also stress as well that I think it's really important that people who sign up to this level have a play around with it, understand the software, get to know the software, and it does take a bit of time and effort. But once you get there, it becomes really simple to use. You can use it in seconds. Okay, so for our example here, I'm going to select played games, because I want to know in terms of play the games, and you can see I can pick win, draws, losses, goals scored, over and unders, etc, etc. But for this example, I'm going to both teams to score yes, both teams to score no, fail to score, and so on. The list goes on. For our example here though, I'm going to pick goals per game average, and all I do is I click on here and I just drag it across. I'm going to pick goals scored average, drag it across, and I pick goals conceded average, drag it across. And if we scroll back up now, you can see that these are now selected statistics or selected stats. These are ones that I personally like anyway, goals per game average and goals scored average, because I feel they can be quite effective. So once you've selected the stats you want, you simply press save and continue, and we move on to stage 3. Just takes a couple of seconds to load. Now this is important, stage 3. So we've selected the competition we want to bet on, i.e. the English Premier League. We've selected 3 or 4 stats that we want to look at for our historical data. And now the question in stage 3 is, where do you want that data to come from? So let me give you an example. So if we go back to England Premier League, I want the data to come from there. So at the moment, if I was to look at this data over 10 games, the software would only use the previous 10 games played in the Premier League for each team. Now, I can leave it there, that's fine, or I can even move further and perhaps select the FA Cup as well, which means in any historical analysis run, the software will now look at the Premier League matches and FA Cup matches, if any were played in that period. I could take it one step further, and if I look around, let's see where it is around here somewhere, I could go to Europe and I could pick UEFA Champions League. So that now means that if the software is to run any analysis for them stats, it would take into account any team's Premier League record, their FA Cup record, and the Champions League record in the games I specified, which will come later. However, to keep it simple, and because I'm only looking to bet on Premier League games, I only want Premier League games in my analysis. Okay, so I'll clear selections, and to keep it the same, I'll just select here copy selections from stage 1. And that should now go to, if we click on England, as you can see, it's only selected the Premier League, and the FA Cup has been deselected. So just to clarify here, so everyone understands this, stage 1 is where I selected the competitions that we want to potentially bet on. Stage 2, we've selected the statistics we want to look at, or the stats we want to view for our historical data. And in stage 3, we are selecting where that data that is being analysed will come from. So does it only come from the Premier League, or the Premier League and the FA Cup, or the Premier League and the Champions League, if a team's been playing the Champions League? For our example, we're just using the Premier League. So we go to save and continue. And here we're going to select the number of games we want to review between. So we've got 4 options: by number of games in between, by custom date range, or by season. To start with here, we're going to use by number of games, and I'm going to select 13 games. So that now means that when we run our historical data, the software will be looking over the previous 13 games. We can go by number of games in between, So if I was to put 10 there and 20 there, that means that would start at, let's again assume we're using Liverpool as an example. It would start at Liverpool's 20th game ago and go to 10 games. So in essence, the last 10 games wouldn't even be taken into account. We can select our own custom date range. So you might want to analyse the Premier League over, say, certain dates. So maybe August to December, or December to February or March or April. And the final one is you can analyse it by season. So I could just want to review one season at a time, etc, etc. But for our example, we will be using number of games in 13. That means that any data we run, or any historical data we run now, will be based on the last 13 games. Save and continue. Here we're just taking match facts, so these are for after the event. But in our case, and this stage 5 can only be used for historical data. It can't be used on any daily analysis, and I'll cover that in more detail later. Okay, so let me just use the example, use attendance, and we will take the full-time score and the full-time name, just to run an example. And we save and continue here. And we come to stage 6, and here you can select the match odds or any markets you want to view. We've got a list of markets from Betfair. So you've got match odds, correct score, the over-unders, the half-time scores, and a few others. And if you click on any of them, you can just select one if you want to. You can just select the home, the away, etc. For our example, we will just select the match odds for now, but again, you can come back at a later date and edit this if you want to. Also bear in mind, the more information you do try and request, the longer the request takes. Okay, so I'll go to save and continue again. And we come to stage 7, and here we've just got the list of everything we've selected. So we've selected the played. We wanted to show how many previous home games have played, what teams played at home. The goals per game for the home team when playing at home. The goals scored average for the home team when playing at home. The goals conceded average for the home team playing at home, and then some bits of information for after the game, and finally the match odds markets. We press save and continue again to move on to stage 8, and all we do now, we just give our strategy a name. So you call this the English Premier League example 1. And go to save and continue. And as you can see, now we have our strategy outline. The data we want has been saved. Okay, in part 2 of the video, I'll look at how to use that historical data, and in part 3, we will look at how to use that data for future games coming up. Okay, thank you for watching, and go and watch part 2. Thank you. Bye-bye.